purposes only. Some viewers might find this disturbing. Parental discretion is advised. Christa Pike was born on March 10th, 1976 in West Virginia. She had a difficult childhood. Her mother, Carissa Hansen, would often neglect her to party, get drunk, and experience with different substances. Her father was completely out of her life, so Christa was raised by her grandmother for a majority of her early life. Christa's grandmother, the only person that was truly there for her, died when Christa was just 12 years old. This led to her dropping out of high school, and she moved back in with her mother, who was the first person to introduce her to marijuana when she was a young teenager. After dropping out of high school, she was arrested for shoplifting, which led to her sitting in juvenile for 1 month. After she was released, she joined Job Corps, which was a job training program for young people. She was training to become a nurse technician. She was supposed to be focusing on becoming a nurse, but instead she was focused on boys. She focused predominantly on this boy named Tadryl Shipp. Both Christa and Tadryl came from similar backgrounds. He was raised by a single mother and dropped out of school as well. He got heavily involved with local known gang members. He also joined Job Corps, enrolling in the culinary arts program. 17-year-old Tadryl worshipped Satan. This intrigued Christa even more. They both fell for each other very quickly. According to Christa, he was the first person that actually cared for her, protected her, and did not use her and throw her away. They even included a third person in the mix, Shadolla Peterson. Christa quickly became obsessed with Tadryl. 19-year-old Colleen Sleemer was from Jacksonville, Florida. She came to Knoxville Job Corps to study computer technology. Colleen was only there for 3 months until her and Christa were in a disagreement. Remember when I said Christa was obsessed with Tadryl? Well, according to Christa, Colleen was flirting with Tadryl and even tried to steal him from Christa. Colleen's friends denied that she ever did any of those things. Christa convinced Shadolla and Tadryl that Colleen needed to be, quote, sacrificed in the name of Satan, end quote. Christa made up this whole theory that Colleen wanted Tadryl and started this imaginary beef with her. She would sneak into Colleen's room and stand over her while Colleen was sleeping. Colleen called her mother, explaining how scared she was of Christa. She stated, quote, I need to get home. I don't want to be here. I hate it, end quote. Her mother explained that she signed a contract and she had to stay there. On the evening of January 12th, 1995, Christa invited Colleen along with her, Tadryl and Shadolla to go to a video store. Then they were going to smoke some marijuana on the walk back home. Unfortunately, the three of them had other plans. According to Christa, her plan was to fight Colleen even though she brought a knife and a meat cleaver with her. The group went walking late at night in a secluded park. Once Colleen started getting suspicious, that's when Christa snapped. She started yelling, pushing her down. The two tussled a little bit. When she got back on her feet, she tried to talk things Christa. She wasn't having it at all. For the next 30 minutes, Colleen was beaten by all three. Christa eventually pulled out a knife and a meat cleaver. She slashed Colleen's body. Tadryl carved a pentagram in the middle of her chest. Christa yelled, quote, "She won't die," end quote. She then picked up a huge piece of asphalt paving and struck Colleen in the head. This caused her brain matter to spill out everywhere, and this is what killed her. Christa kept a piece of Colleen's skull. She started bragging and showing off the piece of skull around the school. Within 36 hours of the killing of Colleen, all three of the friends were arrested. Police found the piece of the skull in Christa's jacket pocket. When they searched their rooms, they found a satanic Bible. Christa tried to explain to police that they were only trying to scare Colleen. They didn't mean for it to go that far. There was evidence that led the three to the crime, and also there were confessions. On March 22nd, 1996, after several hours of deliberation, Christa was charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. On March 30th, 1996, 19-year-old Christa Pike was the youngest person to be sentenced to death. She was also the second woman to be sentenced to death in the state of Tennessee at that time. The state of Tennessee had not executed a woman since 1837. She was set to die by the electric chair. While the judge was sentencing her, she was very hysterical and asked the judge repeatedly if she could, quote, "hug her mom and see her mom," end quote. The judge refused, as he should have, because Colleen didn't get the chance to hug her mom again. Afterwards, she was escorted back to her holding cell, where she wrote a note to her boyfriend and asked a guard to pass it to her boyfriend, but instead she forwarded it to her supervisor, and the supervisor forwarded it to the Knox County District Attorney General's office. The note read, quote, "Hey love, I just want you to know how much I love you. I have 10 months left to live. Imagine that. I'd spend every moment with you if I could. Baby, I want you to tell them you liked in your statement and go along with mine. Do you have a copy of mine? If not, I'll get you one, okay? I love you big bunches, baby, and no matter what they do to me, they can't change what's in my heart. Please write me. I miss you so much. You see what I get for trying to be nice to a hoe. I went ahead and bashed her brains out, so she died quickly, instead of letting her bleed to death and suffer more, and they effing fry me. Ain't that some ish? Please write me and tell me what you're feeling. Also, tell your lawyer if he wants me to testify for you. I will. I love you for the rest of my life. Signed, Little Devil," end quote. Here is an interesting fact. Christa Pike's notes, her waxed handprint, and her wedding vows are on a website called serialkillersinc.net. The website is still up and running today. It features items such as notes that killers actually wrote or typed up from killers such as John Wayne Gacy, Richard Ramirez, Danny Rowling, Ed Gein, and so on. It is a kind of a creepy website, to say the least. Tadryl received a sentence of life in prison with the possibility of parole. Shadolla received probation for pleading guilty to being an accessory. In June of 2001 and 2002, Christa attempted an appeal and asked for the death penalty to be dropped in So Christa decides to jump on her back and attempts to strangle her with a shoestring. A couple of days after the attack, Christa made a phone call to her mother and laughingly told her, quote, "I wrapped that shoestring around her neck and tried to choke the life out of her. She was passed out on the ground, twitching, foaming at the mouth. Her eyes were bugged out so far, her eyelids were flipped up," end quote. On August 12, 2004, she was convicted of first-degree murder. In December of 2008, Christa requested a new trial. She was turned down and sent back to death row. According to the state of Tennessee, this is believed to be legally her last request. As of December 2009, no execution date has been set in motion. In March of 2012, Christa had made a plan to escape prison with a correctional officer and a man by the name of Donald. Donald had previously visited Christa, but their relationship was unknown. The prison break plan was investigated by the Tennessee Department of Corrections, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and the New Jersey State Police. Donald was arrested and charged with bribery and conspiracy to commit escape. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison. The correctional officer served no prison time, but he was fired from his job with the Tennessee Department of Corrections. Christa is now 45 years old. She serves a life sentence. This story has been featured on TV shows such as Deadly Women, For My Man, Killer Kids, and Snapped Killer Couples. A book was also written by Patricia Springer called A Love to Die For, which is available on Amazon. As of June 2021, Colleen's mother, May Martinez, is pushing for Christa to be put to death. In an interview with a local news station, she stated, quote, "Honestly, my heart breaks every single day because I keep reliving it and reliving it. I want this to happen before I die, otherwise nobody will see justice," end quote. Christa's attorney asked the judge to reduce her sentence to life in prison. The attorney stated that Christa was very young at the time of the crime. She has severe mental issues and she experienced a terrible childhood. Just a quick side note, I cannot stand when people try to excuse their serious crime by saying they did not have the best childhood. We all go through things, but it is not normal to take a human being's life, especially an innocent one. Anyway, Christa's attorney stated that Tadryl was the mastermind of the crime. Tadryl was ineligible for the death penalty due to him being 17 at the time. He was sentenced to life in prison and will be eligible for parole in 2028, which will be here before we know it. The Tennessee Attorney General's office asked the High Court for an execution date for Christa. Christa's attorney stated if she was any younger at the time of the crime, she would have been ineligible. If Christa gets executed